Hi friends, this is Jonathan with Purple Banjo Adventures, where our whole goal is to get you outside. This time we're going to be talking a little bit about safety and security of your rig, whether that be you that's taking it out for the weekend or you're renting it out and making sure that your renters can keep your rig nice and secure so they can bring it back for you and their home for the weekend doesn't get stolen. First things first, for crying out loud, lock your doors. Use both locks that are available on these. It's a simple thing, and yes, we are talking about RVs. If somebody really truly wants in here, we are not going to keep them out. But what we can do is add these layers of security to our rigs to make sure that it keeps the casual thieves out. The less appealing your rig is to break into or steal, the more likely that thief is to move on to something else or someone else, and that all begins with locking your doors. Now on the bigger rig that we have, I make sure that I always close this adjustable door handle against the door of the frame or against the rig. It doesn't add anything to security really, there's no way to lock it down, but what it does do is when I pull back in after a day trip or something, if I see that handle open in the open position, I know that somebody's been inside there other than me, and it gives me a heads up to do whatever I need to do, be that call the police or ask a neighbor if they saw anything or whatever, but it gives me that little heads up and a little extra security. Next thing is going to be a hitch lock. There's a million of them out there. Find one that works for you, read the reviews, find something nice and sturdy. I do supply a hitch lock with my rental unit for my renters for all the reasons we just mentioned. I want them to have their home for the weekend when they get back, and I want my asset returned to me. The other thing that I use is a locking hitch pin. Some people say these don't do anything, some say they do, but you know what? It's one more layer of security. So I do use a locking hitch pin. I don't necessarily have it on my rental unit, but that's just a judgment call. I had trouble finding one that fit, and I figured it's a smaller unit, it's less likely to get stolen. Next on the list is something else a little controversial, and that is wrapping the safety chains around the frame of your trailer and padlocking them. A lot of people say this isn't going to do anything, that it's a horrible idea for somebody to try and steal your rig just throwing the safety chains on there and taking it off, because they'll destroy their tow vehicle. And you know, if you're stealing something, that probably means you're not making the best decisions anyway. On top of that, it's an extra few seconds. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't take anything out of my day. So I go ahead and do that for the extra safety, and I supply a padlock so that my renters can do the same. Next up, you can go full out and you can get one of these car boots that they use in cities, like if you haven't paid your parking tickets. These are super secure. The next thing you can do is a similar wheel lock, something like this. It's a little bit lighter, but again, we're talking about just choosing the layers of security you want to add to your rig to keep it safe, to keep your renters safe if you have them, and to keep your home for the weekend where you left it. The last thing that I've heard of, I haven't actually seen it and I couldn't find any pictures of it, but it's when you have a dual axle rig or more, you can run a chain through those wheels and padlock that. Again, it may not do a whole lot, but it's going to add an extra layer of protection. If you're really worried about it, you can always jack the unit up and just take the wheels off of it. Of course, some people will tell you just buy the absolute biggest rig and tow vehicle you can, and that severely limits the number of people who could drive off with your rig even if they really wanted it. So those are my tips and tricks for safety on your RV, whether you're renting it, using it yourself, on the road, doesn't matter. All of these tricks and tips will work for any travel trailer. If you're renting your unit out or it's something you're considering doing and you want more information or you have some questions that you want to get answered to help build your business or to make the decision whether or not you want to take the plunge, check the description of this video and there's going to be some links for where you can get some more information for doing just that. Again, my name's Jonathan Miller with Purple Banjo Adventures, and I want to make sure that you get outdoors.